Hey, what's up, guys? Gavin Peacock here from FlippedSociety. Okay, moving on to part 6, the audio Oh God segment. So up until this point, we've been taking from our bin. We made super rough first cut. We've narrowed it down a few times. Now we're what I would call the director's final cut, or the cut down version. We're looking at a really clean timeline here. Almost every single clip is lined up to the beat of the waveform. All these cuts are matching to the peaks of our song. We've been really zoomed in, and we've been really focused on what is actually in our clip and what it's doing to this timeline. And now, just when you think you're done and getting close to having a final piece, we have to remember that there are all of the audio components to every single clip we're dealing with. And I'll stop there and get into more detail in a sec. Alright, so here you see I've loaded up again 365 Days of Awesome, number 5. Again, because it's utilizing all of the tactics and tricks I've been talking about in the last 5 videos, 5 parts. And now talking about audio. Obviously the most important thing is having selected the audio track in the first place. That was step 1. And now mainly you're just deciding on levels, and levels is also volume. So just deciding the volume of the track. You're going to decide how loud your song should be. And then we have all of our audio from each of these clips and need to decide literally on an individual basis what every clip is going to be doing for sound. Now, when I do my first stream of editing, it's very common for me to just mute this entire lower track of all my clips. So when I'm scrubbing through and playing, I'm mainly focusing on just this beat matching up to the visuals of the clip, not really worrying about what the audio is doing. Again, we're in part 6 now of just 7 parts, and we're only now getting to what we do with the audio of these clips. So you, for the most part, just ignored it up until now. Up here is my main audio track mixer. I'm usually always in preview mode, right? Usually always looking at the clips in my main. Up over here, fine tweaking them, I can click on effects and I can do whatever I want to that clip, right? Zoom it in, zoom it out, blah 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 blah. But I'm rarely heading over to my audio section to look what the audio is doing. So first column here is my track 1 audio. That's where I always reserve for the actual song of the video. You can have it reverse, where, let me just do this quick, where your clips could be up here and your audio could be down below. But when I'm zoomed in here, I'd like to see the video footage as near as possible to the waveform footage, so you're looking at those cuts a lot closer. That's my preference for using track 1 for the song and letting all of your clip audio fall down a little lower. Let me just undo all this stuff I just did there. Good. Okay, track 2, you see I clicked the mute button, but I've already slid this master volume down to the bottom, so I'm not hearing any of these clips. A lot of my edits will have those clips completely muted most of the time, and especially for clips that are this quick, it's going to be so many different things with so many different levels that if you do have this audio up, it's just going to sound completely spastic while you're playing back here. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, so just in that 10 seconds, I heard a helicopter, a drone, motor full power, boat, wind noise, water splash noises. Again, it's all over the place. It'd take an incredible amount of time to try to make these all link smoothly. Your best defense, if you need to and actually want to use all of the audio from all of your clips, is again, go into your audio transitions here, use your crossfade, and just start dropping crossfades on every single clip the whole way through. It's the best attack you could make to blur all these tracks together to kind of make something sound seamless. What I tend to do is just decide on what some important clips are. Usually it's going to be people cheering. Anything important that I might want to use or know I'm going to use is going to be down to track 3 here. So these 3 things I've intentionally pulled down and dropped them there because there's, for some reason, Oh, here we go. Good example is this golf swing shot. Boom. I wanted to keep that pretty simple. Whoops. Let's mute this. Okay, so golf swing ball ping isn't going to be, crazy explosive to the ear. It's not going to sound entirely out of place. Ugh. Silence that. Let's do this again. So silence muted and boom. Nice easy golf swing ping. Doesn't really take away from the main edit, but it does sneak in some audio. Everything else here is muted until I get to the water clip. That's pretty tame and mellow too, so that's not taken away from your masterpiece. So going through this again, I'm going to remind everyone that every rule I'm imposing and teaching you guys is technically a rule you could break as well. So there's never any right or wrong. It's just a matter of, for me, what flows best, what looks good to the eye, and what looks best or sounds best to the ears also. So it always comes down to your decision. But people often forget, if you're video editing, you become a very good video editor. You also become a very good audio editor because you have to do hand in hand. Both come together. Okay, so as an example of how important audio is, let's just pretend you've slaved for days on your edit. You did all your trimming, but for this one clip here, you forgot to stick it onto your muted track, and it's left on track 3 here, which is now at full volume. So you don't realize it's there, but for a clip that has the wrong sounding audio, you can see how quickly a nice smooth edit. I'm going to play back from about 10 seconds back. You'll see when the cursor gets to this, you're going to hear some horrible, I think it's the drone shot, horrible piece of clip out of place. So let's play this. This is a super obvious example. Whoa, boom, jumps out. What the hell was that? And sometimes this track 3 might be pretty quiet, so it's just detectable. And you'll have gone through all the work to finalize. You're going to export this. You're going to think it's done. And if you don't catch these little blips of crap, that should have been up and muted. One clip at a place out of, I probably did 500 cuts in this whole track. One clip can ruin the integrity of what viewers are thinking is a nice flowy edit. One clip at a place, one wrong beer clank, one wrong girl screaming, one wrong camera scraping sound when it rubs against something by accident. Those are all the noises you're going to have to scan your entire mix for to make sure aren't evident. On the other side of that, there are the intentional sounds. And right here, again, I have intentional track 3 of what I really wanted to include. This is now Vegas, and I wanted all of these, turn the master down a bit here. I wanted all these machine gun sounds to show up from a shooting range in Vegas. So we've just gone through, again, thinking about the ear more than the eye. My track has just come from a mellow sound clip here. From, where are we here? That's 40 seconds in, all the way to now. Minute and a half is the first time you're going to actually hear audio from my clips. And this rolls in, music changes. If I wanted to get more effect on this, 2 little quick options. I talk about fading in, fading out, and just level volume. So as I'm scrubbing here, you're going to see up here there's a red limit meter reach. That means whatever audio we have in here is peaked so loud that it maxed out to 0 decibels. Master track here, I guess I got to do it a little bit longer, but that's showing me that machine gun fire is almost redlining audio. So a kid with the headphones on might put this stuff on and blow his eardrums out because you've mixed it too loud. But if I wanted to, I'm just going to turn this down. If I wanted to make that machine gun fire sound more evident in the mix here, I might utilize, I'm going to use keyframes. I just use quick click, 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 click. I might actually decide to drop my master music out to have that machine gun fire and then fade back in. So you'll see what difference this makes. Okay, I can make it just barely playing, so a lot quieter. That sounds pretty damn good. And if you guys don't know how to use keyframes here, boom, 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 you might utilize, again, 10 different ways to do every single thing I'm showing you inside video editors. You might use the razor tool here. You might turn this audio down, or up here in effect controls, volume is also the same thing. Turn it way down. Turn it down a lot. Okay, and then I would use an audio cross dissolve to just blend from loud music to quiet music. Let's play this. So same thing. I use keyframes to ramp down. You could use the audio cross dissolve to ramp down. You can do a lot of different things to get the same exact effect in the final run. Good, so that's a quick way to decide, or to show you guys fade up and fade downs to make something sound more evident if you wanted to. I'm just scanning to see the next time I did that. Oh yeah, super simple. Very common fade outs at the end of songs. So this song by itself, just by waveform, I can see is slowly ramping down in audio. Let's say my clip ended right around here at the start of vocally. Let's just put a note there. Let's say my whole video ended there. I might use, again, my own audio keyframe to make that clip go to 0 volume right where I want it to. And no volume versus if I didn't have it there. Delete that. Where's my next guy? If I deleted that, it's naturally going to go, based on the MP3 file, going to go to 0 volume just a little bit later. Okay, so you're still hearing that fade off, and I noticed at the very end it had an abrupt dropout. It didn't keep naturally fading, so I just made my own natural fade where I decided to, like so. And again, if you don't know how to use keyframes, or you're not utilizing keyframes, or you have a simple editor, you can use your constant power fade out here. Okay, select that. I can make this really long, and essentially that's the same thing. It's a ramp down, so we're going to listen to that. And 0 audio. All the same effect. It just briefly, again, touching up on the peaking of songs or clips, or the levels, or the volume. You never want to redline your audio for a final export, because it tends to blow out speakers, ruins quality of the audio when you're really redlining it. You want it in the sweet spot. Back in broadcasting, I was taught as low as -16, -12. So that's the decibel rating here on these numbers. Adobe here shows red blowouts happening at 0 decibels. So I usually sometimes quick scan like this. I'm watching now this master on the side. It's just a zoom in of this little guy here, the whole master volume of the track. Think of it as like a master knob on your stereo. And I'll go really quick through and make sure I don't see any reds. I might go a little slower zoomed in to do the same thing. But as an example, let's say this clip here, or let's just say my audio track 1 was turned way too loud, and I'm playing this. Look over here, you can just see red, 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 red. I know that's going to be way too loud for the final edit. So I would dial this down, dial it down until I don't see the red. Maybe make the decision to peak at 0. Again, is talking about clips, the more saturated a clip looks, it kind of gives that professional feel. Sometimes if you can push those barriers, the louder a movie plays also comes off looking and appearing a little better. Big mistake you wouldn't want to do is export something with a far too quiet master volume, because when it goes to YouTube, someone can only crank their volume so much to 100%. They can only crank their, speaker setup, headphone setup to 100%. So if they truly can't hear your clip, it won't sound too professional for them. They won't have any option to hear it louder, and it just won't look good on your editing skills and post-production skills. So I like to go to -6 or so. So again, as I'm playing everything, I'm making sure whatever's on screen is peaking around -6. That usually gives the viewer the option to crank it up or turn it down. And then you got to remember your track 2's down here, or track 3 of your clip volume is going to be the same thing. So that machine gun fire right here, as it's playing, I'm looking at track 3 peaks over here, and it's just getting up to -6. If I crank this, it's going to blow out, and it's red, 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 red. So that'll top out tweeters and speakers and just not sound great. So that's as far as I'll get into peak levels and volume, but it all counts. Every decision, again, is intentional and blends into the final effect of the full video as one piece, as a whole, as you're watching it in live time. I'm going to give away a secret here. Most commonly commented question is, how do I get that underwater sound effect? Again, I'm using super simple elements to give a more professional feel to my video and link more visual to audio effects. So I'm editing for the eye, but I'm also editing for the ear, and you guys got to remember that. We're video editors and we're audio editors. So here, as we're going, you can see I've broken up my main track. I'm going to show the underwater clip, and the audio will change to sound like it's there with me. Muffled, quieter, boom, comes back to high treble. So all I do there, secret revealing right now, is I will splice with my razor tool right at the moment. It's been shifted a little because I've been tweaking this for all these tutorials. Right at the moment I know the clip is now underwater to the moment it's out, I separate that little piece and I add what I call the low pass filter. So that's over in your audio effects. It essentially takes away all the trebles and just intensifies the bass. You can scale it up or scale it down here as high as you want. And I typically bring the volume down slightly on those tracks to make it sound distant. Okay, gives a really cool feel versus if I got rid of that altogether and kept my audio the same volume at 0. Music hasn't changed. Still a pretty cool shot, but doesn't do the same for me in the terms of building up an edit. And this is a segue to a different beat of the waveform. So that's it there. I've been using the underwater effect forever, since my 365 Days of Awesome version 2 that blew up. And it's just, again, a super simple effect that goes really well with underwater shots. Okay guys, last two things I'm going to talk about for the audio section is the hard drops and then I guess hard builds or build-ups. I got this section right here from our Jamaica video, which I love, and the waveform here has been building. Song kind of picks up mellow, and I know the track blows up right here into a really quick pace. You could just tell by the clips kind of further apart and then really tight and fast. So I've utilized the keyframes to drop volume on Barry swearing at us. You could also, like I showed you before, razor splice, use crossfade, have this clip smaller. Here I'm coming from very low audio, slowly coming up, and then I ramp the levels back up to full volume for the beat change. So let's just play this through and you can see what this looks like.
Who gives a fuck? What day is it? We're in Jamaica, man.
Boom. And then we just hammer there. So I went from, what's this? This is actually 0 volume. And if you look at my level meter over here, we're almost peaking at 0, nothing, Barry's quiet voice, and then we ramp, boom, right back up to 0 minus 3. So that's a good trick on ramp ups, and let's go find you an example of the hard drop. The example of the hard drop would be, I'm just going to keep it super simple. It's not necessarily the drop you'd expect in like a big dubstep track.
The drop.
When I refer to audio drop, it's where you cut out your music track to put more emphasis to the video track. And I mentioned that with the machine gun clips, we're fading down, fading out. I utilize this a lot whenever there's a really important clip. I want to just throw all the focus to the clip. I'll simply just razor blade the song out. This is the 365 Days of Awesome number 3. All this chaos has been going through, beats been crazy, and then I use my drone into the lake crash to break up the clip, and you can also use that as a great opportunity to lengthen your song if you need to, and I'll show you that. So let's just watch this full speed through, and you'll see what I mean by the audio. The song cuts, drops fast, and it's just the clip audio. to get the point across, to make that clip stand out a little more. Let's watch this. There's the audio drop. Poor guy sinking to the bottom of the lake. Still running, attracting fish. And then music comes back just a little quiet to segue to the next clip. So you get the point there. You can do that with anything. I use it almost in every one of my video edits. Hard drop, cut the music, and just show the video clip.
No more video.
Okay, here's an example, guys, of how you can cheat your audio and lengthen your song by as long as you want to by using a hard drop. So you can see the cut in the audio track here. Clips are below. This is my Russian swing. This clip is when I smash into the water. So I use the cut to kind of highlight a blooper. It's a nice break in pace of the track. And I'm going to play this for you once just so you can hear it cut out. Okay, nice hard smash there. You get the sound of the bubbles. It's a good audio bridge into something else, change the topic. So what I did was use this section of a drop to actually break up my file to make it longer. So everything here, this and this, is actually a duplicate of here and here. You can see the bridging or the ramping up here is the same as this piece right here. So if you run out of MP3 and you still have a ton of content you want to put into your video, you can use the breaks to basically repeat your song. If I pull this out, you can see the song's ending here, so it's not really that long. It's only, quick minute 30 sample clip. So when you use big scenes like this, crashing, it's enough of an audio change. If you keep it off music for about 10 seconds or so, the ear will lose its natural drum rhythm to what the beat was before, and then it enables you to copy that track, paste it down here. And we don't really care about the build up, so I want to go to the hard beat again. Essentially gives you a chance to start this track over and now work it out to its legit ending piece. So right there, or longer. Or if I wanted to do this, basically what I wanted to do here is cut this all out, start up on this beat again, and then start fresh there. Just freed up, what's that? Freed up 25 seconds or so. Or 30 seconds. So that's a little trick to lengthen your tracks by using the hard drops. Also just brings dramatic effect to a single clip that you might want to highlight. Bloopers, someone yelling, something you need to hear that can't be muddled over the audio.
Switch it up.
That's that. Okay, moving on to number 7. Finally exporting our video.